The pros and cons of buying a new build house. There's a severe housing shortage in major areas across the UK. As the number of first-time home buyers increases, the government aims to tackle this by building new homes. In particular, they're aiming for 300,000 new homes to be built each and every year, guys. But just last year, we fell way shy of that. We were talking about 250,000 new homes being built instead. This can be more difficult than anticipated, guys. But what it does show is that there's a heavy influx of new build properties, especially directed towards first-time buyers, with the previously offered Help to Buy scheme and now the more recently offered really low 5% deposit, 95% mortgages too. If you guys want to find out more on this topic, then go down the description box below, because I left the link for a video where I talk all about this, guys. Either way you look at it, it seems like the government's trying to channel first-time buyers down a certain route, and it's the route of buying a new build house. Why is this, guys? Hence why I present this video to you in the very first place. You know, I want to discuss the pros and cons of buying a new build house. Before we dive into things though, make sure to like this video, share it too, and subscribe with the notification bell on as well. I need to know that you guys are liking these videos that I'm releasing each and every Sunday at 3 PM. And it also tells YouTube how great my videos are, hence building up the channel more. So back onto where we left off, the pros and cons of buying a new build house. You see, when you're buying your home, there are really two figures to consider. The very first one is the purchase price. This is the price that everyone sees. But there's a second price to consider, guys, that works behind the scenes and isn't so obvious to actually find. And it's the true value price of that property. Now, your job as a property buyer, whether it's your first time or not, is to ensure that you purchase a property for a price that is lower or at the very least matching its true value. But the real way to tell a true value of a property is by comparing it with other nearby properties, you know, see what they fetch for as well. But this is the real sticking point here, guys. With new build houses, more often than not, you have very little to reference from, because any other similar property will be similar but much older, guys. Effectively, you're in uncharted territory, and what this creates is uncertainty, upon which property development companies that make these new build houses can capitalize from. Hence leading to the major con associated with new build houses, guys. They tend to be overvalued, because when you really sit down and think about it, it makes a lot of sense. For the high demand, especially with all these first-time home buyers coming on the property market, compared to the lack of supply, it's going to show that naturally it's going to be a seller's market, guys. And the property development companies that are making all these new build houses, you know, the sellers effectively, they fully know this and they abuse it. Not favorable conditions for buyers, if you were to ask me. That's why I always say, guys, this Help to Buy scheme seems more like a help to sell overvalued properties scheme instead. But then on the other side of the coin, you could argue, does this even matter if you're going to be there for the long haul? Because yes, you might be taking a bit of a dip now, but you know that over time, properties grow in value. So it really doesn't make a difference for you long-term wise. And this is a very valid argument to make, guys. Because one thing you're getting with new build houses is you're paying for the convenience. The convenience that that property is going to come with all the whistles and bells, you know, all the perks that you've ever wanted a property to come with. You know, you don't need to worry about if the roof falls down, because you know that that roof was installed months ago, guys. You don't need to worry about what if we don't have hot water, because you know you've got the latest state-of-the-art boiler in your house. You know, there tends to be less maintenance and more peace of mind associated with new build houses compared to older ones. And this isn't to be underestimated. However, when you look at it from the other perspective, it can seem as much negative as it is positive, guys. Because one thing with new build houses is that they're harder to add value to. And some people who are buying their first home, they might want to add value to their property. It's a very common thing. People buy homes in the hopes of maybe later on that year doing a conservatory, or maybe they might later on that year, you know, further extend the property. They know they could add value in that sense. A lot of people buy homes like that. But with new build houses, you don't get this perk, guys, because chances are that property development company that made that new build house in the very first place, they've already looked into thorough detail as to how to maximize their profits, hence add the most value to it. So for you to do the same, you might be waiting a longer time. But for some people, this can be easily overlooked, guys, because one thing that you'll tend to get with a new build house is that it will be more energy efficient. And maybe that might save you some money in the long run, some serious money, guys, because of all the latest technology that's been put into that house, and with the ever-growing demand of the government to be more green and more energy efficient, that might be the best way for you guys to financially gain. Like maybe it's making full use of solar panels to generate your own energy rather than paying National Grid for it. And any excess energy you can give back to National Grid and get paid for that. Or maybe instead it's a better insulated property. So instead of costing you X amount each and every month, it's costing you half of that now. You know, it's clear to see that when you buy a new build house with these features, guys, it can be very financially rewarding in the long term. Altogether, those are the major pros and cons of buying a new build house that stand out the most to me. I find it bottles down to whether you're willing to take the immediate financial implications, you know. Do you want to avoid bearing the brunt of paying above and beyond for that property? Or do you see it more as a long-term gain over the long haul? It depends on your choice. The important part is that I hope I've sparked this conversation with this video right here. You know, got you really thinking about it. I find that with these things, preparation is already half the battle done. If you guys have any more pros and cons of buying a new build house that you think are worth mentioning, or you might have recently bought a new build house, or you might have recently even changed your mind on buying a new build house, let me know down in the comment box below, guys. Before we end things here, do me a favor and tell YouTube how good this video was. The best way to do that, guys, is by liking this video, sharing it too, and subscribe with the notification bell on as well. It's your favorite YouTuber, guys, DS Learning Finance, sharing my thoughts and my experiences with you guys every Sunday at 3 PM. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Whoa.